Let's talk about something we all do every single day. Use our computers. But here's the thing, are we really getting the most out of them? We're going to dig into Neil Ford's The Productive Programmer to, well, unlock a totally new way of thinking about efficiency.
And that brings me to this kind of strange question I want you to think about. It's a little counterintuitive maybe, but just ask yourself, are you walking your computer or are you running it? And trust me, that difference, it's everything.
So, the author, Neil Ford, he makes this really interesting point. As computers got, friendlier and easier to use, something weird happened. A whole generation of us, and yeah, that includes developers, we all got super comfortable with our nice graphical interfaces and our mice. But in that process, we actually lost something absolutely critical, pure raw speed. And you can really see that conflict right here. On one side, you've got your user-friendly stuff, the mouse, the menus, and look, they're fantastic for learning, no doubt, but they can actually become a bottleneck, slowing you down. On the other side, you've got how power users operate. They live on the keyboard, using commands and shortcuts. The goal here isn't to, throw your mouse away. It's about knowing when to switch gears from the easy tools to the efficient ones.
All right, so how do we actually make that switch? Well, it all starts with a completely new way of thinking, and the very first principle is all about one thing: acceleration.
And the number one rule of acceleration? It's simple, but it's a game changer. Prefer typing over mousing. Think about it. Data entry experts have known this for ages. Every time you take your hands off the keyboard to grab the mouse, it's like a little speed bump in your workflow. A real power user, they treat their keyboard like the command center for everything.
Let me give you a perfect little example of this in action. So next time you're in your web browser, just type a single word, let's say O'Reilly, right into the address bar. Now, instead of typing out the rest, just hit Control-Enter if you're on Windows or Command-Return on a Mac, and bam! The browser just magically adds the www and the .com for you. I know, it's a tiny little change, but think about it. It saves you, 8 keystrokes? And you probably do that dozens of times a day. It adds up.
And this is what's so crazy. The author talks about this informal poll he did with a bunch of hardcore computer experts. And you see that number right there? Less than 20% of them knew about this super simple shortcut. Now, if even the experts are missing out on these easy wins, just imagine how much time the rest of us are leaving on the table.
Okay, so once you start getting the hang of these individual shortcuts, you're ready to level up. And the next level is automation. Basically, teaching your computer to do all the boring, repetitive stuff for you.
And Ford has this absolutely fantastic analogy for this. He says a woodworker, right, will just grab little scraps of wood off the floor to use as jigs or shims. These are small, totally disposable tools they create for one specific temporary job. We should be thinking about automation in the exact same way. It doesn't have to be this giant, complicated system. It can be a tiny, throwaway script that solves one annoying problem, right here, right now.
But, and this is a big but, there's a trap you can fall into, and it has the best name ever: yak shaving. Seriously. And we have all been there. You know the feeling. You start with one simple goal, and then suddenly you look up and it's 5 hours later, and you are deep in a rabbit hole of completely unrelated problems.
This right here, this is the yak shaving cascade in all its glory. It's so absurdly relatable. You just wanted to generate some documentation from logs. Simple, right? But wait, to do that you need a hook. But oh no, your library is incompatible. So you try to update your web server, but your OS patch level is too low. Fine, you upgrade the OS, but now it's conflicting with your disk array driver. You patch the driver and now your video card is broken. And you just have to stop and ask yourself, what on earth does fixing my video card have to do with documentation? That, my friends, is when you know you're shaving a yak. The trick is just to recognize when it's happening and stop.
All right, for the final piece of this productivity puzzle, this one isn't just about raw speed. It's about protecting your most valuable resource of all, your focus.
And the principle here is so fundamental. Stop navigating. I mean it. That time you spend clicking and clicking through this deep maze of folders to find one file, that isn't just wasted time. Way more importantly, it absolutely shatters your concentration. So instead, let the computer do the work for you. Just search for what you want directly.
Yeah, this is the old way. We all recognize this, right? And you can almost feel the pain just looking at it. Click, wait, click again. Wait, was that in the projects folder or was it in the work folder? It's this little mental tax that we just don't need to be paying anymore.
And then there's this. This is the new way.
I mean, tools like Spotlight on a Mac or Windows Search, they are so incredibly powerful now. You know the name of the file or maybe just a bit of text that's inside it. You type it, you hit enter, and you're there. Instantly. The best part? You never left your flow state.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. Because this isn't just about learning a few keyboard tricks, right? It's about adopting a completely new mindset for how you interact with your computer. And it really all comes down to these 4 ideas. First, accelerate. Just get it in your head that your keyboard is almost always faster than your mouse. Second, automate. Get rid of those repetitive tasks with simple, even throwaway tools. Third, focus. Search directly for what you need, stop wasting mental energy navigating. And finally, and this one's huge, invest. You have to see the time you spend learning this stuff not as a cost, but as an investment that is going to pay you back again and again and again.
And that really leads to the final and maybe most motivating takeaway of all. You don't have to become this super-powered user overnight. That's not the point. The key is just to spend a little bit of time each day, learning one new thing, automating one small annoying task. Because all those tiny improvements, they compound over time into these massive gains in your productivity.
So I want to leave you with this one question. Just think about your day-to-day work on the computer. What is that one dumb, repetitive, annoying thing that you do over and over again? Now, what if you spent just 15 minutes today, right now, figuring out how to make the computer do it for you? Because that's your first step to actually running your computer, not just walking it.